Hey guys, John V here from PhoneArena. Right now you're watching our in-depth video review of the Nokia Lumia 920. It's available right now. You can pick it up for $100 with a 2-year contract through AT&T. And it's very affordable, and it's one of the more compelling and more exciting Windows Phone 8 devices out there just because it features that Nokia PureView camera in the back, which packs an f2.0 lens, Entice optics, dual LED flash, and also utilizes Nokia's floating lens technology, so it also packs image stabilization with high-definition videos. And of course, it features all the incremental upgrades you want to find on top of some new ones like wireless charging and NFC to make it a compelling handset. So we're going to find out whether or not the Lumia 920 is the Windows Phone 8 device to own. As you can probably tell, the Lumia 920 utilizes the design characteristics of its predecessor in the 900. Nothing really too different about it except for one thing. The glass on the display now is it's contoured to match the overall styling of the handset, whereas before it was raised and felt kind of sharp. So it's nice that they kind of improved that with this design. Now it's available in a wide array of colors. It gives it a really nice personalization. You have the red, yellow, cyan, white, and black. Now this one here is glossy. The cyan and black versions are in matte, so it's less prone to smudging and debris. Overall, the size of the handset is substantial, definitely larger than some of the contemporary smartphones we've been checking out, but nevertheless, still very sturdy. Definitely like, again, the fashionable side of the handset. It has a lot of personality to it. Construction with the unibody polycarbonate body is really good. Sturdiness. Right away, we take notice of the Lumia 920's better looking display than its predecessor. Before, it was a 4.3-inch WVGA clear black AMOLED display on the Lumia 900, but the 920 is blessed with something so much better. So it's a 4.5-inch display, a resolution of 768 by 1280 pixels. When you do the math, that equates to a pixel density of actually 332 ppi. Definitely one of the highest out there in the market on some of the big-name smartphones out there. And of course, that translates to some really distinguishable details. Very sharp looking, so not a problem with that. So we definitely like that in that aspect. It's also an IPS LCD panel in here, so you're going to get some nice natural looking colors, great viewing angles, and honestly, very usable in outdoor conditions. So no problem whatsoever. On top of that, it features Nokia's PureMotion HD Plus technology, so it basically reduces latency, so you have a nice fluid look to the display. And finally, if you're going to be using it outside, let's say in the cold, unlike some other capacitive displays out there, you can't use them if you're wearing gloves, but with this, you could still use your gloves and interact with the display itself, so definitely a lot of improvements in this aspect. Being a Windows phone, it's not uncharacteristic to find this one packing the usual trio of Windows buttons. They're spaced far away from one another to reduce accidental presses. And of course, above the display, we find the usual set of items. You have the narrow earpiece, you have a light proximity sensor, you also have a front-facing camera right there. It's 1.2 megapixels for video chat, self-portraits, and has the ability to shoot videos in 720p. Showing us the level of detail put into the design of the handset, you have the micro dots right here on the bottom edge, which make out its internal speaker, its speaker grill actually, and you have the micro USB port there for charging and data connectivity. On the top edge of the phone, though, you have the 3.5mm headset jack placed squarely in the middle right there, and nearby you have the micro SIM slot there. You're going to need to use the included SIM removal tool to actually take it out. On the left edge of the handset, it's free from any buttons and has a clean appearance. Well, on right, we find all the buttons here. You have the volume control, dedicated power button, and the 2-level shutter key. They're all distinctive, good responsive feel, and they have a slightly different color to give it a little bit of contrast with the red. And finally, in the rear, we find the most compelling part about the Lumia 920. It's packing an 8.7 megapixel PureView camera, which features an f2.0 lens, Carl Zeiss optics, and dual LED flash. So it's expected to excel in low lighting situations. And of course, you're going to have other niceties such as image stabilization for video recording, which it does in 1080p resolution. Worth mentioning as well, you could tell with the closed design of the Lumia 920, there's no access to its internal 2000 mAh battery, nor is there any memory expandability, but it does come with 32 GB of internal storage. So I'm not going to go into great detail about the Windows Phone 8 experience on the Lumia 920 just because it follows in tandem to what we've seen already in our reviews of the HTC 8X and even the Samsung ATIV-S. But the things that really stand out is just the dynamic look of the home screen, the start screen here with the live tiles, a lot of personalization and the fact that you could actually resize them to different sizes. And on top of that, they give some useful information, different notifications, and of course they're going to aggregate other other items as well. But beyond that, it's just like the other devices we've checked out. With the lock screen, you get some notifications in there. For example, we have the Facebook one here, so it'll give you your statuses and of course how many messages you have, emails too, and you get a detailed status too right up there. But beyond that, it still needs some tweaking. For example, a better notification system where you could see everything in one spot, just because if you get like a message, it shows up top but disappears afterward. But as a whole, still definitely an exciting looking platform. Just like the other Windows Phone 8 devices we've been checking out, the Nokia Lumia 920 is powered by a dual-core 1.5 GHz Qualcomm Snapdragon S4 Plus processor with 1 GB of RAM. And as we know, Windows Phone 8 supports dual-core processors, and honestly, when it comes to the performance of the handset, it's pretty much typical of any other Windows phones we've checked out in the past. It means that you can get really fast executions with a variety of different operations, whether it be simple things like opening up applications, kinetic scrolling, and even more processor-intensive stuff like gaming. Setting itself apart from the other Windows Phone 8 devices we've checked out. Now, the reason why the Nokia Lumia 920 stands out is the fact that it's packing Nokia's pure experience applications that are specific, to Nokia's handsets. And that's what really separates this from, let's say, an HTC 8X or even the Samsung ATIV-S, just because you get a little bit more functionality with the software experience. Of course, the core stuff are there, like the calendar, the email, all that's the same, but some of the ones that are specific to this handset, to Nokia's devices, we're going to quickly talk about here. So the first one is Nokia City Lens, which is basically an augmented reality application, and it's great in the fact that you could actually use it to look for points of interest around you. Secondly, you have the navigational applications with the Lumia 920, and these include Nokia Drive and Nokia Maps. And of course, Nokia Maps, you could search for points of interest. You could also get walking directions. Very useful, obviously. And beyond that, if you're looking for a turn-by-turn directions, you're going to get that with Nokia Drive. It works relatively well. It might not be as comprehensive as some other dedicated navigational apps out there, but for the most part, it gets the job done. And lastly, the Lumia 920 also features Nokia Music, which is a free radio station-like service like you get with Pandora. So you're going to get free music over the air, and it also syncs up with any content you purchase through Xbox Music. And of course, the user interface utilizes the UI formerly known as Metro, so it has a very distinctive look, very pleasing. And again, you get free music with it. Of course, having a nice large display makes the Lumia 920 more than effective for writing up long messages with its on-screen keyboard. You get the Windows Phone keyboard as usual. You have that distinctive tone when you're typing up. It's very responsive, super spacious with the layout. And of course, you have alternative ways of inputting text. You can either speak it. With the landscape keyboard, though, the only thing that a problem is that it's not really spaced, evenly all the way to the left. There's some space here, so it's a little bit more of a stretching with your fingers, but still more than usable. Considering this is a flagship device for Nokia, it's not surprising to know that it's packing 4G Lte Connectivity, so you're going to get fast data speeds through AT&T's network. And as far as the web browsing experience with Internet Explorer, it's just like the other Windows Phone 8 devices we've checked out. It's fast in loading up speeds. Thanks to the high resolution on the handset with the display itself, it makes for some really nice looking details, very crisp looking, and of course very fluid kinetic scrolling and pinch zooming, so it has all the qualities you'd want to find on a great device for surfing the web. Well, there's nothing new with the music player here on the Lumia 920. It's the same thing we find on any other Windows Phone 8 device. You could tell here with the live tile, very dynamic. It has a nice, catchy look to it. And of course, the UI is very appealing too. Great presentation. You can even purchase additional content from Xbox Music service. As far as playing a song, it's the same thing you'd see. It has the album here, the on-screen controls, and on top of that, you get some nifty additional stuff, such as a bio on the artist. But as far as the audio quality from its speaker, it's definitely strong and powerful, but it lacks any bass tones to make it really commanding. There's no arguing the fact that the Lumia 920 is an ideal handset if you're going to be watching videos, just because you have a nice vibrant looking display, large size at 4.5 inches, and out of the box it supports a wide variety of video codecs like the one we have here, which is in DivX 1920 by 1080 resolution. You could tell, very lovely looking, pleasant, move swiftly, no slowdown and lag, and has all those qualities that you want when it comes to watching videos. There's a lot of buzz regarding the Lumia 920's PureView camera, but before we talk about its quality, let's take a look at the camera. And as a whole, we're a little bit disappointed just because it's lacking any serious features to it. It's basic, just like you see on any other Windows phone out there. For example, if you go to settings, the only thing you could change here are things like the scene mode, the ISO, exposure, white balance, aspect, and the focus assist light. That's pretty much it. You don't have any cool filters. You don't have any additional functionality with it. It's the same exact thing you'd find on any other handset. So here we go, folks. We're going to talk about its 8.7 megapixel PureView camera, which features a dual LED flash, Carl's Zeiss optics, and an f2.0 lens. Now, with the f2.0 lens, it's worth noting that it's able to absorb more light, but we still notice just some blurring going on with low lighting shots. But as a whole, it's definitely above average compared to some other devices. Might not be class leading in every aspect, but again, more than effective for getting the job done. Now, it's quick, fast in taking photos. In outdoor conditions, plenty of lighting. Of course, it takes some nice, pleasant looking shots, but there are a couple of stuff that really stand out. First and foremost is details. Fine details tend to have a little bit of a over sharpening to them, and it's rather soft in tone, not as sharp looking compared to other handsets. And with color reproduction, for the most part, it is neutral, but every now and then, especially in indoor settings with artificial lighting, we'll tend to see the white balance just to be a little bit distorted, tend to notice just some purplish hues in them. But the handset really excels in low lighting shots, whereas other phones tend to be darker and misses out on details. It's able to actually draw out those details, make the shots appear bright, lighter, so you can see more stuff. But at the same time, you do notice just a little bit, some degrees of noise and graininess with the shots. But overall, a lot better than other handsets out there. It still kind of doesn't handle dynamic range that well, just because we notice with brighter lit areas in the shots tend to have a little bit overexposed look, but again, you still have a lot better image quality compared to other devices. And finally, the LED flash works very well, and it's nice that it kicks on prior to taking the snapshot in low lighting conditions, so you're always going to have an image that's going to be in focus. Likewise, the Lumia 920 takes some very nice looking 1080p high definition videos. You have a nice smooth capture rate, so everything's nice and steady. It utilizes floating lens technology, and what that does, it aids it with its optical image stabilization technology. And it really shows, just because compared to other smartphones, you don't notice that shakiness going on, so it really works in that aspect. But as far as the other parts about details, again, it's kind of average looking. Exposure is gradual, so it's not as sensitive. We do notice some artifacting going on. Clear audio recording, which is great, and does offer continuous autofocus and relatively quick compared to some of the other Windows phones we checked out. So overall, the whole entire package is more than acceptable to our liking. It's not perfect with call quality. The Lumia 920 has a strong volume output with its earpiece, but voices tend to have a little bit muteness to them. Meanwhile, the speakerphone itself, it exhibits some muffling, and its volume output is a little bit on the average side. And even though our callers on the other end line mentioned that our voice is clear and distinctive, it does pick up some wind noise, so that's evident on their end of the line. During our time using the Nokia Lumia 920, we didn't experience any drop phone calls, and in high coverage areas, it's able to maintain a solid amount of bars with very minimal fluctuation. Testing out the Lumia 920 strictly with HSPA Plus connection, its battery life doesn't prove to be any better than any other smartphones out there, and in the end, it's basically average with its 2000 milliamp hour battery, so we're able to get by a solid day with no issues. But of course, if you're going to be using it in an LTE area, you could expect the figure to drop tremendously. Let's be serious here, folks. The Lumia 920 isn't the most cutting-edge handset, nor is it the most compelling out there, but of course, when you look at all the incremental improvements found with it, with its performance and hardware, it definitely still is one of the compelling Windows Phone 8 devices out there. And at $100 to your contract, there's no question you're going to get a lot of value for the buck. Now, design, definitely still, a little bit hefty there, and nothing new with it, but we still appreciate the available colors, which gives it a stylish looks, solid build quality too. And of course, one brilliant looking display on there, 4.5 inches, high resolution display, 4G Lte Connectivity, dual core processor. But when you look at the software side, the reason why it stands apart from its competitors, you have those Nokia PureView, Pure Experience applications like Nokia CityLens, Drive, Maps, Music. Those 4 applications alone are worth it. They really complement the Windows Phone 8 experience. And of course, when it comes to taking photos and videos, this is definitely going to get the job done. It might not excel in all aspects, but it has enough qualities to make it a very compelling offering. It excels in low light condition. phone. You also get image stabilization with videos, so definitely something you want to take into consideration. And on top of that, it still has other things like NFC, wireless charging that utilizes the Qi standard, and all those things, factor in the $100 price point, really tells you that there's going to be a lot of value for the buck with this guy. So if you'd like to learn more about the Nokia Lumia 920, guys, you can check out our website, PhoneArena.com. This is John V. Thanks for watching.